Now to politics, few days to the official date for candidates to kick off campaign as announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission ahead next year's election. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike and some other leaders of the People's Democratic Party loyal to him have pulled out from the campaign council of the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. This decision was made known after a 7-hour closed-door meeting at Governor Wike's private residence in Port Harcourt, where they vowed to boycott all campaign activities in the build-up to the 2023 presidential elections until Senator Iyorchia Ayu resigns as national chairman of the party to pave way for a southerner. Recently, some members of the Governor Wike's group were appointed as leaders and members of the campaign council for the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar.
We hope that the powers that be will listen to the voice of reason and do the needful.
For the national chairman, Senator Iyorchia Ayu, to go and embrace Tambuwal, calling him the hero of the convention, which means there was a private arrangement that was done with Tambuwal to shortchange other contestants, including Governor Wike. And here was a referee who now helped one of the sides to score a goal and then blew the whistle that a goal has been scored. This is not what we formed the PDP to do for Nigeria.
The PDP ruled Nigeria before for 16 years of excellence. We are desirous that such kind of excellent governance comes back to this country. But that cannot be achieved unless we have a proper structure of the party as designed by the founding fathers. If we want to restructure Nigeria, we should have the courage to restructure our party.
And TVC's senior correspondent Uche Okoro joins us live from Port Harcourt for more on these developments. He joins us via phone. Uche, what more can you tell us? I see Jerry Ghana there, and I see Governor Seyi Makinde as well. Also talk to us about those who have now pulled, those who are loyal to Wike, who have now pulled out from the Presidential Campaign Council of the PDP.
Well, you mentioned you identified a number of former governors there. We also had former Attorney General Mohammed Adoki, who attended that meeting. Of course, elder statesman Olabode George. We also had Professor Jerry Ghana, who spoke last on that clip there. We also had the South chairman of the PDP, Dan Obi, attended that meeting. We also had the former deputy speaker of the House of Representatives, Chibudom Wuche, also attended that meeting. Senator Suleiman Nazif, Honorable Nnenna Ukeje, and several others were present at that meeting. So it was a very high-powered meeting, I must say. And going by my work here in Rivers State, I can say that apart from the convergence of PDP governors in Rivers State for their meeting, this is one of the single largest meetings of PDP chieftains ever to hold in Rivers State. You know the reasons as well as the motivations and the outcome as you've just noted. So those are those names who attended that meeting. So it was indeed a very high-powered meeting in the sense that going by the kind of personalities who attended that meeting. And so the outcome, I'm pretty sure that the PDP would not take it for granted.
Mm. And talk to us more about the briefing. Was it a single request? Because all we heard was that Iyorchia Ayu must resign. Was that the only request they made?
Oh well, every other comments that were made, when they addressed journalists after that meeting at the governor's private residence, everything centered around that one request. So it is safe to say that if this particular request is granted, every other thing would fall in place. So this, the call for the resignation of Senator Iyorchia Ayu is like the tripod on which every other grievance, demands, expectations, and whatever rest upon. So if that tripod is taken off, everything will collapse. So they are saying if the current national chairman steps aside, that would put pace to all their grievances. So it took them a very long time to arrive at that. It was about 7 hours from 7 p.m. Tuesday night to about 2 a.m. on Wednesday at midnight. That meeting rounded off at the governor's residence there. So it took them a very long time to arrive at this decision. I'm pretty sure it wasn't an easy one because it's a very serious decision that has very serious implications on the chances of PDP in the 2023 presidential election. So it took them about 7 hours to arrive at that decision, and I'm sure that by now the ranks of the People's Democratic Party will be working around the clock to find the middle ground in all of this.
And I just wanted to ask him, so maybe two questions in one, Uche. We know how close or the relationship between Governor Tom and Wike. Was Governor Tom also present in that meeting? I also want to ask you what they are threatening to do or what they plan to do if their request is not granted.
Their request is not granted is simple. Their request granted is very simple. They have said if their request is not granted, they will not participate. And going by in quote, what we call capacities, in Nigerian politics, going by, in quote, the capacities of the caliber of persons who are pulling out, it's likely the layman the analysis of the layman would be that this is going to have very serious implications on what PDP hopes to achieve in 2023. When you have the likes of former governor of Ondo, Ekiti, Cross River, current governor of Oyo State at that meeting, then it goes to show that whatever it is, their position it will have far-reaching consequences. So that's the most I can say about the attendance to that particular meeting that ended in the early hours of Wednesday.
And we know that the National Executive Council, I think it was, or committee of the PDP has passed a vote of confidence on Iyorchia Ayu. And we also know, I think I was speaking to one of their member of the PDP who said that, look, whatever decision has to be made has to be ratified by the National Executive Council. So it does seem like a very difficult decision if the National Executive Council decides that this decision will not be ratified. I just wanted to ask you if there has been any statement made from any other quarters apart from the Wike camp or the Wike group as it is now being called.
I cannot categorically say yes or no, but I cannot categorically say yes or no. But if you listen very carefully to the comments of Professor Jerry Ghana there, he mentioned that he talked about restructuring. That what they're actually asking for, they need to restructure the People's Democratic Party if the party is to be taken serious of its desire to restructure Nigeria. Now, of course, you know that a lot of stakeholders in the country, especially maybe we can say from the Niger Delta and the South, have said restructuring the country is the only way forward. So the party, Jerry Ghana is saying that the position of the PDP should be to restructure itself. So I believe that the National Working Committee, if they have the listening ears that we expect that they do, they will listen to these leaders of the party. They may not give them 100% of all they have asked for, but on this issue of internal party democracy, sticking to agreements, restructuring the PDP, these are all issues that the National NWC will take into consideration in taking decisions or in taking a stand. Because, like I said, these men and women, Honorable Nnenna Okeje, who attended that meeting, are not the caliber of persons whose bluff that you would call. You would, want to take their position seriously.
Absolutely, Uche, you're right about that, and we'll see how whether the National Executive Council or the party as a whole is willing to call their bluff and how this will play out subsequently. Please keep an eye on this story for us and bring us updates as you have them. Our correspondent Uche Okoro live for us in River State.